I've had a long journey with seborrheic dermatitis, and this is really just a skin condition in which the yeast strain that we all have in our skin, in fact, is perforating out into the outer layers of the dermis, the skin, right? And this is largely due to a compromised immune system and also by way of the gut. Because if you imagine the gut lining down to your rectum, right? What happens to the skin, the lining of your intestines? Whoop, it goes out and becomes your skin. So your gut is your skin. They're one and the same. It's the same organ, essentially. And I want to really bring attention to that because it is so important to realize that this is where the problem stems from. It is an imbalance in your intestines. And this is where you need to target it, because when I first got this or realized it, I went to try all the medications. And I mean all of them. The orals, the topicals, all of them. The antifungals, the steroidal creams, the ointments, the potions, the lotions, all this crap, right? You might have been there too, maybe you are there right now. And I want to tell you that that's, I found, is not the way. It is not going to work. All it is ever going to do is to treat the symptom. And treating the symptom is the only thing the pharmaceutical industry ever does, isn't it? And I've even found that it is the same thing or the same case that is to be made when you then go online and you see all these natural treatments, these topical oils, the herbal things, the mud masks, the salts, the this and that you can then apply to your skin, leave it on. The many, many treatments that you can do by applying stuff to your outer skin. And sure, it may treat the symptoms temporarily. It may make you appear better temporarily, may decrease the pain, the burning, the flaking, the inflammation temporarily. But the point I want to bring across is that I've managed to become asymptomatic many times. I'm not completely clear right now because I've had some dark chocolate, I've had lots of cheese actually lately, which is not the best for me. It's okay, but it's not ideal. When I keep a super clean diet, and by that I mean mainly just beef, honestly, it all disappears completely. I've tried pretty much every diet out there. I've tried it all. I've tried all the foods. I've experimented with each one individually, incorporating it, leaving it out. Many, many variations of many, many diets. And what works for me may not be what works for you, but I need you to consider that there is something that works for you. And that really, it is not so much about finding the perfect food. It is about finding the imperfect foods that don't work for your system at this particular point in time. It doesn't mean that it won't work for you later on when you adapt, when you can handle it and slowly reincorporate it back into your diet. That's possible. But the reason I really think that this issue came about in the first place is your diet. When I look back upon my childhood, what foods were I served by my parents? It was lots of grains, lots of sugar, processed foods, these sugary cereals, and just a bunch of crap, really. Bread, lots of bread, tons of it. Just all in all, low quality, low tier food. Nowadays, I wouldn't even consider most of it food. I wouldn't even touch it nowadays, all of it. And so it is important to consider when and how did this issue arise in the first place? Most likely, you ate a diet that compromised your body. It caused dysbiosis in some way. And now you're dealing with the symptoms of causing the dysbiosis. So what can you do to regulate yourself, to harmonize your system again? It is to return to a diet and lifestyle that doesn't cause you more issues, doesn't cause the issue to flare up. And that for me just happens to be purely beef. Maybe some eggs, mainly just beef. And again, I'm not perfectly clear, but you can see my skin is actually, it has some shine to it. And I will leave a picture in the thumbnail so you can see sort of what I looked like before, which was not even at its worst, but sort of what it looked like at a point in time, because I've had my entire face covered, I've had my armpits covered, I've had my chest covered, my groin, my entire scalp, my beard. And in the past, I wouldn't be able to wear a shirt like this. Why? Because it would just be all flaky with dry skin all over it. A black shirt? No way. No way. So for many years, I only wore white shirts. And I don't think I look particularly good in white t-shirts. Maybe I've grown so tired of it because I always used it as a crutch to cover up. But yeah, just to consider the mental agitation and effort and exertion and anxiety that you place upon yourself because you have this condition that you just can't hide from other people. It's terrible. It feels terrible. It's lots of suffering that can come on behalf of this condition. And yeah, so I understand. I understand how many people are desperate. Many people try for years on end. I sure have. And every now and then it may flare up again, and I usually am able to pinpoint why. It is always because I made a misstep in my diet. It is not about how I treat my skin, honestly, because I've tried all the oils, the salts, everything out there. I've tried it. I've even tried, I remember eating like 20 supplements a day just to try and mitigate my skin condition. And what did it do? Nothing. Nothing. Sure, it might have helped the symptoms a bit here and there, but it's so unpredictable, unreliable. It is unresourceful because you're just throwing money at stuff that isn't going to treat the issue, that isn't going to bring you any results lastingly. And it's interesting to consider that I still have the condition, but I'm at a point where I don't notice it, or it is so markedly reduced symptomatically that it means nothing to me 95% of the time or more. Only if I mess up, which is my own decision. But the fact is, yeah, it is still there. If I screw up my diet, if I screw up my lifestyle, if I stress myself out, if I don't sleep properly, if I don't hydrate or eat the foods that I know are serving me, yeah, I'll get it right back. It'll just one day of messing up is enough to screw up the next 2 weeks. That's where I'm at. But you know what? If I just stay on the path that I know works for me, which you can do too once you find out for you, you're A-okay. You're going to be super clear, my friend, because my skin's glowing, naturally glowing. You know what that means? Because in the past, when I was touching my forehead, it felt like rubbing a dry alligator. It was so dry, so flaky. I never had oily skin. It was impossible for me to have any shine to my skin at all. It was just super red, inflamed, flaky, just really, yeah, unimaginable, honestly. unimaginable, the transformation, but both to how it was as a child, because it was just on my scalp, just on the top of my head. But over time, if you don't actually treat this properly, it'll spread and get worse. And sure, there are things in your environment that can make it worse, but most of all, mitigating, managing stress, taking care of sleep, hydrating, getting adequate electrolytes, minerals, and water, and proper elimination diet long term. That is going to treat the issue, and that is going to deliver you the results that you haven't been able to find anywhere else. Quit the topicals, quit the creams and all that crap. It's not going to work, and it never will. Take care.